Okay, just so everybody knows, I'm using my 10-inch tablet for this class. You may have one of the smaller 7-inch tablets. It's the same version of Android, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to be going over a whole bunch of apps because there are 800,000 Android apps, and I obviously have expertise in maybe 0.1% of those. And even those I would not say I have expertise in, I would say I have experience with. What we're going to go over today is the basic setup and functionality of the tablet. And after that, I'll kind of go over a couple apps because this is a consumption device. You did not purchase a laptop, okay? This is an information consumption device that many applications will make it act like a laptop, but it isn't a laptop, okay? It's Android, it's a version of tablet operating system made by Google, and it's a really nice one, but it isn't a laptop. So if you're expecting it to be exactly like a laptop, you may be unhappy with it. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of the basic setup stuff. Just so you know, buttons on your tablet, hopefully everybody's got theirs on, and you know where the power button is. Do I need to tell anybody where the power button is at this point? Okay, good. The power button, I'm ignoring you, Mr. Eiler. The power button, just so you know, is to turn it off and on. It doesn't turn off on its own just because the screen goes out. It is still on. So if you think I fully charged it before I put it on my counter, if you didn't turn it off, it's still running and it's still dissipating and doing stuff just because the screen isn't on. So Android device is really good at killing your battery. So at night, I plug it in and I leave it plugged in. And Mr. Studerbreaker brought up a good point that even if you turn it off, apparently if you plug in the keyboard, it will turn it right back on. Okay? So if you're plugging it in at night, you might want to make sure the keyboard's unplugged as well, so that you're not doing anything with it while it's charging so that it gets a full charge. It definitely lasts a full day. I have not had one last less than a day and a half if I turn it off at night. But if I leave it running, it's doing stuff the whole time. And unless you turn it off, you don't stop any of the applications that you open and then go to something else in Android are continuing to run in the background. It's kind of like if you open up Word on your computer and then minimize it. Word's still running, just down on a little start bar to open it up again, and that's what Android does. The only way to turn those things off totally is to turn off the tablet. And you do that by holding down the power button until you see this screen right here that says, "Would you like to shut down?" And you say, "Okay," and that's turning it off. No other time have you turned off the device. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there's 3 buttons to be familiar with, and that's the first one is down here. You know what? You can't really see that one on this. Let me see if I can get that. There we go. I can just kind of see it now. The back button, which is the one that's a back arrow, and on the 10-inch tablet, there's also a button on the front that goes back. The one that looks like a house is the home button, and there's also a button on the front of the 10-inch tablet that does that. By the way, I'm home right now. Home is your main screen. And then on the home screen, there's also this button next to it that looks like 2 windows that lets you, it's kind of like taking you to your taskbar. It lets you see everything. This is all the things that I've opened up. Apparently there's 5 things that I've opened up that I could go straight to those things just by clicking that. And then if I hit Gmail, I'm going to go straight into my Gmail. So that's what that one does. And then you also see this 3 dots over here. I was putting my finger over that you can't see when my finger's over it. There's 3 dots right there is for settings. If you're ever anywhere that has a setting, if I click that button, it'll bring up what the settings are. And in this case, the only settings are, do you want to manage your apps? Do you want to do the system settings? Or you want to check the wallpaper? The last button that you need to see on this screen is the one in the top right-hand corner. I'm going to have to, I spent all that time getting the camera set up and then I mess it up the first minute I'm using it. Okay, good enough. Top right hand corner is the button that takes you to all of your applications up here. So if I hit that button, I probably have a lot more than you, and a lot of you probably have some Chinese ones that you'd like to get rid of, and we're going to go through how to do that today, okay? These are all the apps, and I've got 1, 2 pages of apps on mine. And you see on the top left, it says apps is underlined. If I keep going, slide, now I go to what are called widgets. And widgets are programs that run on your screen, and I'll show you a couple of those today too. Okay, so that's what all these are right here. Those are my apps, and if I want to get back home, I just hit the little button that looks like a house, and I go back to my home screen. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is set it up and make sure it's set up the way you want it to be set up. So we're going to go to settings. So I'm going to want you to go up here to the menus of all the apps, and then slide it until you find, and they're in alphabetical order, until you find the one that says settings, and it's the one right, if I can, yeah, you can see my finger. Okay, it's the one right there that says settings. So I'm going to click on settings, and we're going to go through some of the settings for you. These are where all the things that control the tablet, and if you ever have something, if something's not working, usually in settings is where you can fix it. I'm going to go just down through the list. The first one up top says Wi-Fi, and if I click on Wi-Fi, I can see what I'm connected to, other things that I've been connected to, so you can see NTLS up there up top, and it says connected, and it shows the little Wi-Fi signal. I've also been at Miami University with this, so the Miami University guest one is there, and I've been at my house, so my pool house one is there. This is where if you're having problems with Wi-Fi, you want to go and fix it. So if, for instance, I was having problems with NTLS, maybe you have problems with home with your security, you put in the wrong password, it won't connect up. If I click on NTLS, I can tell it to forget it, and when I tell it to forget it, it will disconnect from NTLS. And now it doesn't say connected anymore. And then you can go back to it, and if it was a secure one, when I click on it again, it would pop up and ask me for the password. Now, it isn't secure, so it just reconnected back to NTLS, but if I was doing my one at home, it would have popped up and asked me for my home password. And if you're having problems getting on at home, and it works great here, there's a couple possibilities. Number one is you don't know your password. Number two is there are many, many different kinds of security encryptions, and it's possible you've picked the one kind that this tablet doesn't get. Okay, so the possibility exists that you might want to switch your encryption. I haven't had this one not be able to get on anything. It's got on everything I've tried. The ones that we tested with Mike Birdsall's class, that was not true. I had to change my encryption at my house in order to get that tablet on. So that's another possibility. So that's the Wi-Fi, so you can see how it's connected. The next one down, data usage. This is not a phone, that's a phone thing. That's to keep track of how much data your phone is using if you've got Verizon or something and you're trying to not go over your data limit. So that doesn't mean anything for us. Sound down here is where I can set my volumes, where I can set whether there's sounds for the screen lock. I am going to click on volumes because there's 3 different volumes on this. One of them, the top one, is basically stuff I'm listening to. The next 2 are stuff that will annoy you in the middle of a meeting when the speaker is talking, like what happened to me yesterday. So where it says ringtones and notifications, every single time I get an email, this thing goes ring to let me know I got a new email in. If I turn that one down, and it's just a slider, now it's not going to make any noise when an email comes in. Turning down your master volume does not turn that down. So you can silence all you want to, and all of a sudden you'll get the ring in the middle of a meeting, and you'll be like, crap, I forgot that one. Okay, so that I wanted to point out that one. And then alarms are just that. If you set an alarm to go off so you remember to go somewhere, that's a whole separate volume. And I leave that up because if I set an alarm, I probably wanted to hear it. Okay? So I'm going to say okay on this so we don't get any email sounds today. The next one's display. Now this is where I set a bunch of things. The brightness up there, if I click on brightness, for instance, if I'm laying in bed with my wife reading a book at night when she's trying to sleep, I might turn the brightness down all the way so that it doesn't bother her, and the rest of the time I might have it up. I will tell you that the higher your brightness is, the faster your battery will wear out. So have it as bright as you need it to be. Yeah, it's great when it's all the way up, but you're going to burn your battery down faster. Okay, the next one that's important is the sleep one. A lot of people have said it keeps turning off on me. That's because because it might be set to a minute, which means if you haven't done something in a minute, it turns off. I set mine for this class to 30 minutes. I don't normally have that. I normally have it set to 10, actually. But if you set that time differently, it'll stop going to sleep on you all the time. So that's what that one is for. It's how fast it goes to sleep. It doesn't turn off again. It just turns off the screen, and then I have to turn it back on. So that's what that one's for. And then the last one that I wanted to point out here is the font size. And I'm going to switch the font size. Right now mine's set to large. I'm going to go to huge and show you the difference as it goes. Did you see how that got bigger? And I'm going to go and take it to small now and see how it got smaller. The font size might keep some of you from wearing your reading glasses while you're using your tablet. So you might want to think, if you're someone who needs reading glasses and everything's really small and I wish it was bigger, set it to huge. Okay, it's still not that huge, by the way, but it might help you out a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna jump down a couple. Storage just tells you how much room is free on your device. If you filled it up already, you should not be in this room right now because I have not filled mine up already. So this one has a lot of storage, but that's where I go if I just wanted to see how much is left and what's filling it up. I have a couple pictures and a couple downloads, but basically on mine I still have 12 gigabytes of storage free. Battery lets you see what's using your battery. You can see what's burning up my battery most of the time is the screen, which makes sense, okay? So the next thing down is apps, and this one we're going to stop for a minute because I apologize, I did not have time to remove everything Chinese from your tablets. And I will let you know that the first one I pulled out of the box had no Chinese on it, so I didn't think I had to. I was like, oh, great, these aren't, because the 7-inch ones, oh, it's over there. The 7-inch ones have no Chinese, or I mean, have a lot of Chinese on them. And I made a program that removes it all automatically. And I would have spent the time to do that for yours, but there wasn't any on the first one that I opened up. So I would say probably 30% of you have no Chinese, and 70% of you do. And this is how to remove some of those Chinese apps. If they're in Chinese, and when you open them, and everything else is in English, it's never going to switch to English. So just get rid of them. Here's how you get rid of them. These are all the apps that are installed on my device right now. And I'm going to scroll down to one that I want to throw away. So let me see if I can find one that I want to throw away. Okay, I'm going to throw away Fragger. It's just a grenade tossing game. So I'm going to throw that one away. So all I do is I click on Fragger. And you can see the little button comes up in the top right. It says uninstall. All I have to do is click uninstall. And then it's going to say, hey, I'm going to uninstall this. Okay, I just told you to. And then it's going to say it was uninstalled. We're not going to take the time for you guys to do that on all of them. It's a really easy process. If it's Chinese, click on it, uninstall. Yes, I wanted to uninstall, and then okay, it was uninstalled. There is at least one app on here. I think it's down at the bottom. Oh, no, I think I got rid of all of them. Okay, I must have got rid of all of them. Oh, by the way, I'm on download, and I really wanted to go to all on the top right, so I can see all my apps. I didn't realize I wasn't there. Because there's some apps on here, let me see if I can find one. Don't just uninstall things, and I'm going to show you one, if I can find it. Okay, here, all the way down to the bottom, I've got two left that are in Chinese. You can see they're in Chinese there. If I go to uninstall one, and it comes with the system, it doesn't say uninstall, it says disable. And if I try to disable that, it's going to say this might make it run bad. Okay, so if I hit disable, it's going to say, if you disable built-in apps, other apps may misbehave. Okay, it's going to run bad. You don't have to disable that one. I don't disable those, just so you know, because I'm scared. You could disable it, and if I did disable it, the button up there that says disable is going to turn back, and the button there would say enable, so you can disable it and see if it runs bad, and then re-enable it, but I have disabled things before that made me unhappy. Okay? I'm all in favor of uninstalling, but I don't disable those, just so you know. So there are two left on my list. that I just leave on there. So that one, and I think this one's the same way. Yeah, it's the same way. So there's two ones at the bottom. Okay, so that's how you get rid of those Chinese apps that are bothering you. And I pre-installed a bunch of apps for you, like the Kindle reader, because it's a great reader. It really is nice. Even if you don't have a Amazon account, it still will open up PDF files really nicely, very quickly, and it's really nice. So I like that reader. Also, the Android Market is really nice. In fact, well, when I go to markets, I'll show you that. The nice thing about the Android Market, if you have an Amazon account, and I'm talking about the Amazon Market, they give you a free application that's normally a paid one every single day. Every day there's a different free app there, and I try them. If I don't like them, I delete them. And it was free, so why not? So I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so scrolling down a little further, and by the way, this one on the left scrolls, so I'm scrolling it up so I can see the rest of them. This one, the next one, accounts and sync. And I'm gonna apologize right now that I'm not gonna stop here right now. We're gonna have time at the end to fix everybody who is going to have a problem with this. Now, if you have a Google account, right up in the top right, it says Add Account. You all have Google accounts. Our school National Trail email is a Google account, okay? The one that's in Harrison at nationaltrail.us that you go through Gmail to get through, okay? Those are Google accounts. You can link those up right now. And all you have to do is say, Add Account. And when it says what kind of account, the bottom thing says Google, and it is a Google account. And then when it says add a Google account, down at the bottom, what you can't see, it says existing and new. You have an existing one. And it's going to ask you for your email and password. The email is bpool@nationaltrail.us for me. And then my password is my password. And here's why I'm apologizing. Google requires 8 characters. If your password is less than 8 characters here at National Trail, it will not work. But I have a laptop set up so we can fix it later. Okay? So you can go ahead and try it. If you're one of those people that have their password as 1234, then it's not going to work. You won't be able to hook it up. So please go ahead and try. If it doesn't work, we'll reset your password and it'll work right afterwards, okay? So after you set this up and you have your account set up, which you will need to do, then it will show up here like mine does, and you can have more than one account synced. I have my National Trail one first, and then my personal one on there, so all my email comes in here. I get my trail email, I get my personal email, any email I get comes automatically into the device. And there's a little button on the right-hand side that's green that you can't see very well. Next to the name, that's a little circle that says it's syncing. And this is what it's syncing, okay? All I have checked is that it's syncing my contacts, but I can say, hey, get my email too, and then it will automatically get my email. I don't have it sync everything. When I want it, I'll go get it. In fact, I got my contacts set, So that's the account thing, and that's one of the things we're going to have to come back to at the end. Okay, the next important one is where it says language and input. And I just told it to sync, so now it's going slow because it's trying to sync, which is why I had sync off on everything. And I'm going to wait here for a second. Okay, so what I should see on language up top, if you don't have English United States, please raise your hand. Does anyone, right up top, when I clicked on language and input on the left-hand side, the top one should say language English United States. Okay, there are people that don't. Okay, if you don't have English United States, all you have to do is click on the word language, and then it will have a scroll bar of a whole bunch of languages. Just scroll until you find English United States. Some of them we missed, and it said UK or something. But you want United States so that you get the United States spelling of things. You just click on that, and see, that's why I didn't have it syncing right now, so that it wouldn't slow down. Okay, The other thing you want is the keyboard. You want it to say right here, default English US. And if it doesn't say that, you just click on the word default, and it will show you the only two keyboards that are installed, and you click on English US, and it should say that afterwards, okay? That Chinese one, I challenge you to use, but not right now. Okay, how are we doing? Are we all still with me? Okay, so the last thing on the screen is date and time. That's the last thing we have to make sure is set up right. And if your date and time is right on the bottom right-hand corner, it's probably set up fine, okay? If your date and time is wrong, you cannot get anything from the App Store. And this Wi-Fi marker down here in the bottom right will not be aqua, I guess is the color. It will be white, and it usually has a little X in it if it's not connecting up right. So if you have the right date and time, and it says right there, set date, set time on mine, or you might have it automatically getting the date and time from the network. The big thing is you have to have the right time zone. So we are Eastern Daylight. It should see GMT -4 up there to have the right time zone set. I normally don't have it get it from the Wi-Fi because if I go someplace else and they don't have their Wi-Fi time set, it will screw up mine. Which is what, I mean, I know our Wi-Fi time is set and it should be right because I set the Wi-Fi to our clocks. But if I walk over to McDonald's and hook up and they don't have their date and time set right, then all of a sudden mine is wrong too. So I set my own date and time personally. Okay, that's the last thing on settings. If you, right, you're talking about the time zone. Okay, so those are, that was a question, Wisconsin. He said no questions. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to our home screen. Now my home screen doesn't look like yours. These are totally independent. You can configure them however you want. I'll show you first how to move things. If I put my finger on something and hold it on that something, you see X's start to come up. It's really hard to see, but then I can slide this to wherever I want to, okay? So I just push, hold, slide to move my stuff around. You have 5 home screens, by the way. I'm at the middle one. If I slide right, oh, I went left. There's one. There's another one I'm not even using yet. Here's one that has my kids' storybooks that I read them at night, and I'm not using that one yet either. So I have 5 different screens. It comes back to the last home screen you were on. So if I go somewhere and I hit home, it goes home to where you just left from. So if it's blank, I might have left from here, I might need to slide back over. So these are all, you can set them up however you want to. The way you get your applications to that, if I click on that, and here's all my apps, I'm going to say I want, let's see, Moon Secret. We'll put Moon Secret on my home screen. So you guys don't have this one, but it's a nice, if you have little kids, it's fun. So the way you get them there is I just push down and hold it, and see how my home screen popped up, and I say I want Moon Secret right there, okay? So it's really easy, and if I want to take Moon Secret off, I push down and hold it, and now up top it says the word remove up there. I just take it up there and it removes it from my home screen. As you guys get used to using these, you're going to want to organize your home screens and, you know, make it real nice and easy. Maybe Mr. Wendell is doing a business class and he's got tons of business websites he likes to go to and put on his home screen. Or maybe there's a CNN app or an ESPN app that he wants to put on his home screen. Now you can also organize these while we're here. If I want to put things together, I've got 2 web browsers up here right now. Okay, I've got Chrome Beta and I've got the default browser. They don't have to take up separate space. I can drop them on top of each other. So if I take this and drop it on top of there, it makes a folder. And this folder now has both things in it. So now if I click on that, it opens up to my new folder. And I can name those folders. It says unnamed folder. So I'm going to call it browsers. So now I have a little folder called browsers. Now it's this first one I made, so it's saying, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I made a little folder called browsers, and if I want to get to my browsers, I just click on that and it pops open, and then I can click on what I want. I'm going to pull that back out because I really don't want to do that because I like having them separate. But if you had a whole bunch of second grade alphabet apps and you wanted to have them on your desktop, but you didn't want to have them all over, you could put them all in a folder. Okay, the other thing is, or the more important thing is now, is how do I get those apps? Okay, we've got a device that I can get my email from now, and you set up Gmail, so that's one that you may want to take and drag Gmail onto your screen so that whenever you want to check your mail, you just click on Gmail, and it's going to pop up with all my Gmail in there. So that's one I want on my desktop. But how did I get these apps? Now I installed a whole bunch of them for you guys, and there's, see my I want to be a pirate? That's just fun. If you have little kids, some of these apps, you're going to say, why do you have that app? Because he loves this story. So it's one from a company called Playtales, and there are all kinds of neat interactive books that read to you if you've got little kids. So if I wanted to do, I want to be a pirate. When I grow old. Here, I'm going to say read to me on this. So I want to be a pirate when I grow old. Now, can you guys hear that at all? He gets to play with them.
Yippee! I wield the sword to defend my gold.
And he can make his pirate swing his sword and stuff. And he does all the pages.
On my shoulder is a parrot, the color.
He loves to do interactive storybooks now, right? So, okay, so how do I get those? There's two ways you can get applications, and the first way that comes with it is the store called the Play Store. And it's one of your apps. It only works if you have a Gmail account set up. If you were unable to set up your Gmail account, when you go to it, it's going to say set up a Gmail account. Okay? But if you do have a Gmail account set up to it, it comes into the Play Store, and like I said, there are hundreds of thousands of applications out there that you can go and get. So if I'm interested in news, I could just hit the search button in the top right-hand corner and type news and hit enter, and then it's going to start showing me all the apps out there that I can get for the news. Some of them are free, some of them cost money. Okay? So if it asks for money, you have to have a credit card hooked up to your Google account. If it's free, you don't. So if I want BBC News, I just click on BBC News. It's going to say, do you want to download it? Yes. So I click on download, and then it's going to say, hey, I need to do all these things. I say, okay, accept and install. And now it's going to download that app. It's going to install that app, and then I'm going to have it available to me to use. Like I said, I can't, oh, by the way, when you install it, there's usually a checkbox that says, do you want me to automatically update this? In other words, if I fixed something that wasn't working, can I fix it on your device? And I always say yes on that, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open it just to show you an app. This is the BBC News app. It's probably going out there now and fetching different news stories from around the world. The BBC, there we go. The top story, Spain rejects bailout speculation. I can sit there and read that. I can watch that little video if I want to. Things in U.S. Republican wins Wisconsin vote. I can click on that, and the article comes up on the right-hand side, and there's a video, it looks like, on that one as well. So apps are user-dependent. Whatever you're interested in, you need to go and look for. There are all kinds of websites, too, that list great educational apps. So if you went on your PC and looked for great fourth-grade math apps, you would probably be able to find somebody who has a list out there for you. So, and this is where I said I can't go through every single app for you because there are hundreds of thousands of apps. Okay? Now, sometimes you'll look for an app and it won't be in the Play Store. I'm going to give you an example here of one that's not in the Play Store. That works just fine on your tablet, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to search, and I'm going to search for YouTube. And I will not come up with the YouTube app. Or at least I won't come up with the one made by YouTube. And the reason for that is, and this is one of the downsides of Android, is, you know, Apple on their store makes sure every single application works before they let you post it. And there's only so many, you know, the iPad, there's an iPad 1, 2, and 3, that's it. Okay, there's an iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 4S, that's it. Okay, so that's all together, and if we threw the iTouches in there, we might have 12 different devices that Apple has to worry about making sure things work for them. In Android, any company can make one. They can download the software and they can put it on their device. There are thousands of Android things. So when a developer makes them, he may not have said it works on yours, which is the case with the YouTube one. But if you want YouTube, you just have to bring it up to me. I've already got it. Or just tell me and I'll email it to you. Because when you email an app to someone, if I email you the YouTube app, for instance, it would just say right on the email, install. When you open up the email on your device, big button, install. Just push the install button and it'll install it for you. So I can share things that if you're like, hey, I really found this cool app when I was searching for it on the web for my 4th grade math students, but it doesn't show up in the store, I might be able to just download it and email it to you. And then you just click install and it comes up. So if you have problems with some of those things, there are some things that just don't show up that work just fine. Okay? So the other store I wanted to point out too, besides that one, I also installed the Amazon App Store. And later it says, do you want to do an update? The Amazon App Store, one of the nice things about it is this App Store I opened up for my phone. Okay? But if I buy something at the App Store, it lets me download it to anything that I connect the Kindle App Store up to. So if I buy something on this for mine, and I'm Todd Alexander, and I put my account on Diane's, book downloads and installs it. It's not like Diane has to rebuy it. Okay? So as long as you have the same App Store linked to both accounts, and for instance, my family only has one Amazon account, and my kids all have Android tablets, so if I buy something, they can download that same thing, okay, to theirs. And I can see the stuff that I have downloaded. If I go up here to the right-hand corner and click on the Amazon, if I'm good to go. Where's my app? Oh, it's right there. I'm already there. Duh. Okay, so right here, today's free app of the day is the Treasure of Mystery. I don't know what that is, but it's normally 99 cents on the Google Store. Today it's free. So if I wanted that, I just click on it, and it would say, hey, do you want to get that app? And I say yes. And I can get that app, and if I don't like it, I'll just delete it later. So that's one of the nice things about the Amazon one, and that's why I put it on there, because a lot of times we don't try out paid ones, because I just don't want to pay for it. Every day you get, 365 free apps a year through the Amazon one. Why not put that on there? So, okay, so that really is the basic stuff. I wanted to go through the settings, show you how to add apps, and then it's up to you to try to go and find the apps that apply to you. These devices are about consumption, really. It's information consumption. It's a way to get to stuff that you couldn't get to easily. I can sit on the couch and I can read articles while my wife's watching her HGTV and she thinks I'm paying attention, So we're watching the same thing together. Yes, dear. I'm reading about Linux right now, or whatever you say. So it's about that. You can read books with it. You can watch movies with it. If you have Netflix, you can watch Netflix with it. If you have Netflix, you can hook it up to your TV with the HDMI cable. If you go to Walmart and buy the right kind of HDMI cable, you can hook it up to that. And then the hundreds of thousands of apps that are out there that will allow you to link to your content and to be able to do things with your content. I'm going to stop recording now so that we can take questions, and I also want to show you one other thing as well.